Hello, 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 and a very good morning to all the participating audience. First and foremost, let me thank Dr. Ravi Gupta, Shivam, Harpreet, the Elets team, all our supporting partners for putting and making this event happen. And I must also thank you for all for joining in this event, where I'm sure each of you will have your own views to share on the stage over the course of the next 2 days. Uh, Before we start this panel discussion, I'm sure the panelists will agree that the views and opinions expressed here have been made in our personal capacity, may or may not be subscribed by the organization that we represent. So I would request that the panel discussion be held under the Chatham House rules. Basically, for those who don't know it, it means that information that is shared available here is free for use without revealing the identity or the association of that member and the participating audience as well. Okay. Now, while I'm sure we've got a wealth of experience on the stage, we've got an equally compelling wealth of experience in the listening audience. And so we will try to keep this session as interactive as possible. Whilst we are speaking on the stage, if any member has a counter view, has an opinion or an extra view to share, all I'll ask you is to just raise your hands and we will try to take your view on board during the course of the conversation itself. Okay. And so with that, let's dive into the conversation that we have. This is the inaugural panel. We are talking about reshaping financial services, crafting tomorrow's industry today. And I must first commend ma'am for the keynote session. So Ms. Verma has actually touched upon most of the points that we will ideally be discussing in the session today. Okay, so we are just diving into details on what you have already covered, ma'am. So thanks for that. But before we start with the discussion, let's think about banking in the good old days. And our first association with banking would have been our neighborhood bank, where as we were younger, as we were children, we would have gone to the bank, physically present in the bank, collect a token, wait in queue patiently to collect our own money. And it was our own money that we waited for so long for. Okay. And even the concept of opening a bank account at one point of time required maybe about 2 weeks to a month to open a simple account, references from existing account holders, to now where we have come now, where banking and the entire financial services is concerned. This has all come about with the concept of digital inclusion, digital transformation, etc., where now banks and traditional FIs are actually competing with digital players and fintechs for the same customers. This has led to the evolution of this concept of basic customer service. Customer service has now become more of a customer experience, and the aim of that is to reach up to customer delight. And therefore, as financial institutions, banks, NBFCs, etc., insurance companies are no longer competing with themselves and the like. They are in fact competing with anyone in the industry who's able to offer something to the customer. So it could be ride-hailing apps, it could be food apps, it could be quick commerce websites, etc. And then, therefore, we come to technology and how we adopt technology within the BFSI sector. So I will ask this question to each of the panelists, since we've got a diverse panel spanning banks, NBFCs, as well as our partners. I'm sure each one of you will come up with your own views on this. So my first question to all of you, starting with you, Deepak, is how do you think that the emerging technologies like AI, ML, blockchain, quantum computing, big data, call you what it is, how is it transforming and influencing the transformation of financial services? And what, in your opinion, is the technology that would most influence it in the next 5 to 10 years?
No, great. Thanks. Great to be on a panel and in Goa again. And am I audible? Okay. I think, we have always been enamored and excited by what technology can do and how technology can be adopted and it can help change. But I would say the fundamental questions are not essentially around technology today. I know technologies are here, but question is, what will technology do to shift our goalpost? And I think if I look at BFSI industry, largely banks, but also insurance and other sectors, I think we are fundamentally reaching a point where a lot in these industries are just not working. And I think one has to be, because you called out Chatham House rules, so I thought I can take a little more liberty in sharing. I think the business models, the traditional business models are just not working. Customers are not walking into the branches. Digital media through where you go and find customers are extremely expensive when you pay Google and Meta and all to find customers. Everybody is going after same 100 million, 120 million people and trying to do more around them, be it a credit card, personal loan, home loan. While you still have over 1 billion people who are not really served well in this country, just because the business model, distribution, products, all these things are just not getting innovated enough to make it accessible and available to the large masses. I think the risk and regulation framework will continue to get tougher because we are seeing advent of be it cybersecurity, identity, fraud, risk management, and now data privacy, all kind of regtex. So if you look around today, the deposits are just not coming in. Banks are struggling to get their CASAs up because today customers find better avenues to put their money. They just don't keep lazy money lying in a saving account earning 3.5% interest. So I think if you start looking at the industry per se itself, I think industry has a lot more of fundamental constructs to first solve. Within that, where technology can come in terms of either changing business models, how do you find customers at a lower cost? Largely, that's where things like embedded finance, looking at ecosystem, finding a lower cost of distribution, finding the set of the financial partnerships. And moment you start thinking of those, then comes the question of what technology can enable. Would it be set of APIs? Would the cloud help? Do you need a better data and consent sharing framework through which when you get data through partners for either origination or underwriting? Or even like since I'm on board of one of the banks which does a lot of microfinance work, how do you ensure that access to credit and collection of money back is solved? Because I think we are all trying to build a trust economy today where everybody wants to be sure that when you are lending, you'll get your money back. The cost of origination comes down. So I think every single technology that you spoke about, in my mind, has a role to play, be it an AI for credit underwriting, early warning system, or probably looking at the security and threat assessment. The question now is not about adopting technology, but finding where would technology create a big shift in some of the key challenges that BFSI system is going to face. And these challenges will continue to become bigger and bigger over a period of time. I don't see any of these will become easy problems to solve. So I think technology, in my mind, has to be seen in lens with how the industry shift and the relevance of business has to be factored in.
Thanks for those insights, Deepak. So you, in short, we are basically saying technology is there, technology is stay, technology needs to be an enabler. Okay. I'll come to you, Alok, with the same question, and maybe you could also throw light from the retail home finance perspective, given that you all are in that space as well.
Thank you. I would, continue to what Deepak had already said. See, ultimately, what is the whole purpose? I mean, the purpose has to be sacrosanct. Obviously, the technologies which have evolved in the last decade, especially in the last 5 years to be precise, is an enabling source of the purpose. As Madam said in her opening speech, the socio-economic inclusion, as a country, we are now 1.5 billion people. So much of the earlier solutions were catered to 10-20% of the population. 80% of the financial services were only accessible to 20% of the population. With the advent of technology, there has been an ability to reach out to the masses much better. The physical infrastructure always was not possible in every nook and corner of the country. Now, with the technology on hand, we are able to reach out to the customer digitally in a more speedy manner and a more friendly manner, especially coming to the focus areas of NBFCs or housing finance companies, where we try to reach to the more undeserved or unserved customers, where traditionally banks have not been able to cater to. the technologies have helped us reach out to customers, provide solution to the customers. Now customers have a additional solution to them for their financial needs. Otherwise, they were stuck with primarily the money lenders of the rural economy. So access to customers has been made better. Customer sourcing digitally has enabled the onboarding process better. The validations of KYCs done digitally have enabled the entire onboarding process better. With the AI tools of underwriting, we are able to today analyze customer behavior much better. In terms of customer service, reaching out to customers, earlier I would recall, even now you see memes of customers waiting to get their passbook updated in banks and with a sign of lunchtime. So today all that is, history behind us. Reaching out to customers, giving them their statement of accounts, updation of bank statements, or even any query. Today with the advent of chatbots and other mediums, we are able to service the customer much better. So overall experience in terms of reaching out, onboarding, underwriting, and customer service altogether has improved, thereby enabling us to help reach out customers better. So I would say this is a welcome change, and as we are evolving, this will only get better. And ultimately, the purpose of serving the end user has to be the objective.
Sure. Thanks, Alok. So you very rightly said it has helped in a way to bridge the gap between the urban and the rural, the literate and the not so literate, and maybe it's something that is rightly sums it up. Although I don't like the use of the term because of the bias that comes in it. It's the India versus the Bharat, the gap between the India and Bharat. With that, I'll come to you, Gaurav. JM Financial with BlinkX, etc. It is something of an advanced solution and a service, not something of the traditional type. So, in your view, what has tech?
So, in the past, we have seen if you want to open any investment account or demat account, you had to meet someone. It used to take 24 hours, 48 hours. Today, as Alok also mentioned that onboarding of a customer because of technology has become seamless, very smooth, and it has given the power to the BFSI has been able to do. It is because of the technology. So I believe that there are three important pillars for the BFSI organizations. One is onboarding of the customer. Second is engagement of the customer. And third is when they are doing transactions, sometimes they would need some assistance that would lead to customer delight and customer experience. So customer onboarding has become, very smooth, very easy. You can access anytime and right away you have access. Second point is the customer experience and the engagement on the platforms. So what I believe that, the technology like machine learning, AI, the integration of these two technologies will eventually lead BFSI industry, and utilization of algorithms powered by AI will eventually analyze the vast amount of data which we are gathering from customers and will unlock the hyper personalization, which eventually empower clients to make a decision with ease and smartness, which will eventually lead to customer delight and help them to meet their objective why they have come to this financial instrument investment and industry.
Sure. Thanks for that, Gaurav. So your belief is AI will help improve speed, efficiency, and quality of decisions. Thanks, Gaurav. And I'll come to you now, Sagar, as a partner within the consulting and the services space. Where do you stand on technology? Where do you see it in the next 5-10 years?
I'll try and bring a technological angle to this conversation. As a tech service provider, I don't just see technology being an enabler. We do see it as a actual differentiator as well. A great example for this would be what UPI has done for India. We have actually leapfrogged significantly to be one of the leading countries in terms of technology adoption, which wasn't there a few years back. We are not just doing it for our country; we are also doing it for our neighboring countries. UPI is now being implemented in Singapore, and this enables, along with some of the other innovations like CBDC to actually do some incredibly fast cross-border transactions. So in that sense, I feel even for the banking space, it could be a very huge differentiator. The top 2 or 3 things that I see as technologies that's going to reshape the next I'd say 3 to 4 years. 10 years is too far out. Would be definitely in the AI ML space. Apart from predictions and all the other good things that were happening, we have seen the advent of AI. I mean Gen AI as a big potential component. We are seeing Gen AI being used for chatbots. Finally, some chatbots which are actually useful, not just prompt-based chatbots. Something that can actually enable a seamless interaction between multiple channels for a bank. Customer support itself is a very core aspect of it. So Gen AI could be very instrumental there. Other areas that we can see is ability to understand the fast-changing regulatory requirements. Quickly adapt to that. Gen AI can play a huge part in it. We've done a lot of small proof of concepts in this space. It's still in a nascent stage, but the promise and capability is pretty huge, and we see a pretty big impact over there. The other big space is, like Ma'am mentioned earlier, blockchain is really big. CBDC was introduced last year, and at a national level, we're one of the few countries which actually have a digital rupee pegged against the actual currency. That's just the tip of the iceberg. The last 6 months, we've actually had multiple variations of it. For example, now we can have smart money, which is basically, we can have simple and also complicated, intelligence built into it. So, for example, if the government is distributing funds, it can be allocated towards specific uses, and the intelligence can be built into it. It's called programmable money, and even this is going to be coming out in the next month or so. With this, the need for escrow accounts could become, there's no need for an escrow account. You can build in the intelligence into it. So both across banking sector as well as the regulation space, I think blockchain is a pretty huge space.
Thanks for that. So you've heard all of them speak about the technology. If you have any questions, if you have any counter views, or you have something to add on, we'll just take a pause. From anyone from the audience has something to share? Okay, if not, then Sagar, I'll stick to you because one of your points on blockchain and the rest caught my attention. So you talked about technology, what all is available, what all it's capable. So even the keynote session had something around account aggregator, open banking as the like. So with this development in the financial services, which has now fostered collaborations between multiple players, including the financial institutions, including fintechs and digital players, and the state as well. What are the opportunities and challenges do you see with this entire model, and how can each stakeholder maximize their potential?
Yeah. So I think from an opportunities perspective, it's quite straightforward. With open banking, banks and financial sectors can actually utilize all the fintech work that's happening out there. The kind of services that can be extended out to the bank's customers is pretty open-ended. It can it's also been pretty well executed in terms of companies like apps like GPay and PhonePe and PhonePe.
We are an IT consulting firm, and with our experience and on working on AI also, we keep talking to a lot of companies, BFSI, and one of the questions which I keep getting is, yeah, we have a lot of ideas, ये सब तो ठीक है, but what is the ROI? Like, because business ultimately needs to have ROI. So I would like to ask Rishi, if in your organization people are building something on Gen AI, what are the benefits and how are you measuring the ROI?
Sure. Thank you. So first of all, I'd like to thank Elets for giving opportunity to be part of such a prestigious panel. So I guess before directly jumping to ROI, I guess those are the days gone when all the BFSI institutions were associated with cash, deposit, investment, payments, record keeping. These days, what we expect is like, identity, information, and experience. On top of that, I need speed and intelligence also. If I want to achieve this, I don't have any option, but it's a mandate to get married with the latest state-of-art technologies. And AI, generative AI, is the answer. If you talk about the customer service, personalized offerings, risk management, credit scoring, these are like common use cases, I guess we have been speaking or we have been hearing since yesterday. But I guess going forward, operation resiliency and embedded AI across the cybersecurity facets, that should be the use case or maybe a need on off when it comes to the future. ROI per se also, when I say if someone thing is invested, we always say ROI is like maybe a revenue, maybe a cost saving, or maybe a productivity. But when it comes to the Gen AI, for me, ROI is something time to market, number one, customer acquisition and customer retention, especially for the larger institution, because I already have the large customer base. So retention is very important for me. Risk reduction, because I said one of the use case of Gen AI is like cybersecurity or maybe risk management kind of stuff. So how I can reduce the risk, that's also a ROI for me. Last but not the least, at the end of the day, I'm doing for customer pursue value. That's nothing but a customer satisfaction. Now, all these facets I may not able to, directly correlate, may or may not be in terms of cost or revenue. But I guess these are the actual ROI, which we try rather across BFSI try to, correlate with the implementation, what we have done. So that's my submission, ROI per se, when implementation of Gen AI.
Yeah, I completely agree. I think operational efficiency is one of the areas where a lot of companies are focusing on with Gen AI. Amit, you have any opinions and you want to share your thoughts on it?
Yeah, hi, this is Amit. So if you talk about the current scenario now, the end customer is actually been changing. And the end customer is more like a Gen Z kind of a people. And they look forward for something which is fast, because they are used to get all the things more like an e-commerce way. If you talk about them, we are not supposed to bombard them with any offers. So it's like the personalization has to be there. And along with the personalization, we just need to be very quick. Taking all the things quickly, doing the personalized offer and coming up with all the defined thing for people, the Gen AI is something which is going to be a solution, where we are actually generating all the offers, quick time, and then giving a personalized choice for those people. On top of that, they really wanted to see the NLP kind of a processing. And then
Aadhaar can be used to pull the CIBIL as well. But just that because it has been a legacy practice, everyone has been using this. So Gen AI can be used to segment your customers, profile them, and then decide possibly what could be the documentation for the customers depending on the modeling techniques that you use. Second, on the risk. See, underwriting today, the way it works is there are traditional data models that we use. Basically using predictive modeling techniques, you decide, okay, whether this customer is good enough or not to be able to process a loan. How are we processing it? Of course, there is a human discretion. There is a person who's sitting there who's doing the appraisal of the person, of the property. At the same time, there are systems available, there are APIs available which do this processing at the back end. Typically, what happens is there is a BRE running, a business rule engine, with the preset parameters and a scorecard which throws an output, whether Puneet is okay or not okay to get a loan. It is very difficult to change this BRE. Once it has been coded in the bureau, it's very difficult to change it. With Gen AI coming in, there are millions of transactions happening on a daily basis. Can we possibly use those transactions to fine-tune our models on a real-time basis and possibly see that how can I maybe change my underwriting practices? So this is, I think this is a key area that I'm looking at. The onboarding part will take some time. The third one is the most common. I think everyone is aware of it. Customer experience. Bots, we all are aware of. Typically today, it relies on traditional AI, NLP models, wherein you have a predefined set of keywords coded at the backend. I want my account statement. It will work. The moment I say I need my account statement, it fails. Please give me my account statement, it fails. So to be able to curate your responses to the customers and try and make it more engaging so that it feels there is a human sitting at the back end. And irrespective of which language you are talking to, irrespective of which language you are speaking in, irrespective of the kind of keywords you are speaking, you are giving, the bot is able to respond. And that is where I believe Gen AI, because there are millions of transactions happening on a daily basis. There are thousands of queries coming on a daily basis that could be used. And finally, the last one is the knowledge series. There are new employees joining on a daily basis. To train them is a huge cost. And there are new policies coming out. Anyone who is in the lending background would know that for every state, every city, you have separate local policies defined. So if you could use Gen AI to be able to curate your learning series, your knowledge series, for people to understand and just ask any query. If someone has joined my team in Raipur, he could just ask a query, okay, what are the policies being used by this organization in Raipur? And what kind of loan can I process? What kind of customers can I process? What is the basic income parameters I need to consider? So over there, I believe this can play a huge role. At this point of time, we are looking at a couple of these. Customer onboarding is definitely not one of them because it's going to take a lot of time. But yes, a couple of these are something we are actively pursuing, and hopefully we make some progress in the near future.
Good luck with that. Yeah, we can help you if you want. So another aspect is touched upon in the Indian ecosystem, the vernacular languages aspect is very important. But Prasad, I would like to ask the same question to you. What are the implementation strategies you folks are looking at if you want to take ahead the Gen AI?
So when we talk about any project implementation, Gen AI included, the first one at our end, you talked about in the previous question that whether it is a vertical, horizontal, or how do you go about generally making it. We have created a model which talks about first find the objective of that particular Gen AI model requirement. Because normally what happens that there are so many buzzwords which are going around, and we all have come to a buzzword which was there maybe 3-4 years back, metaverse, and we all know that has not worked the way it was supposed to work. So from that perspective, what we have defined is objective. That are we solving a current challenge, a current customer problem, current organization problem? That's the number one thing what we look for. Because just to give you an example, ChatGPT when it got launched, everybody thought that if I need to build a lot of SEO authority of my particular page, I can create a lot of content through ChatGPT, put it on my website and drive SEO ranking and traffic through the same. People realize immediately that a lot of duplicate content is getting created and it is impacting ranking negatively rather than helping it. Okay? So the first thing is define the objective. Second thing is whether it is solving a customer problem. So just to give you an example, I think a co-panelist talked about it, that when we talk about generative AI in a contact center kind of environment, that where bot is answering the customer questions, I think it has improved a lot. The kind of solutions which are currently available in the market, the way they interact with the customers, though we have not gone ahead and made it live for the customers yet, but a lot of experiments we are currently doing on such kind of a thing. Before it goes to the customers, 5 to 6 months of proper training is required for the bot machine to generate the responses for the customers. And we are doing that experimentation with a lot of things. Is there an organizational level benefit in doing that? Yes, definitely there is an organizational level benefit, because we have seen that a lot of time contact center employees, the way they respond in the morning session and the way they respond in the evening session are different. Fatigue sets in, the consistency of the responses, there are variations with that particular part. Bot helps you to do all those things. But at the same time, answering difficult questions, because we have also seen some of the customers might ask something which is beyond the boundary limits of that particular bot, and bot will not understand what to answer. So we are also training our bot on all those aspects. We are into that particular experimentation. So first is objective, second is experiment a lot instead of making it live because of the peer pressure or the what buzzwords are around. Experiment properly, give a thorough understanding to the bot, and then only make it live. The third thing which we are working on is something which is currently making process are difficult for the customers. Like life insurance, for term insurance, majority of the customers will undergo physical medicals. Now, can I convert that physical medical process into something which can be done via face scan? There are so many solutions which are currently available in the market, and a face scan is one of those solutions which can give you the vital information about a customer immediately. Now, yes, clinical correlation is not yet established, hence we are doing both the things parallelly today. But that information which we are capturing today for the customers, that will help us to make that model more robust and build that clinical correlation going forward. So that's the third thing. And one more important thing which you mentioned about, that should we do the entire Gen AI experiment on our own by building the resources, capabilities within the organization, vis-a-vis going to somebody else who is doing that as a core activity. My belief is it's better to start with somebody who is doing it as a core activity, because as an insurance company, my core activity is not to do the face scan and do the vital scans and vital information and voice-based NLM development and all those things. That is not my core expertise. So I am a strong believer in utilizing the solutions which others are developing, others are deploying at multiple places and getting learnings out of it, and then use all those learnings into your model to make it better. That's how I will go about doing the implementation of it.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's a very interesting strategy which you pointed out. Let the experts do their work. Your expertise lies in insurance, and you would focus on those areas. Piyush, I wanted to ask you. So, customer services is something which everybody is saying that, yeah, we have to focus on that. But other than that,